I wanted to ask as well if you could say a little bit about your personal experience as in your role working as the chief officer as a gay man and how holding that very senior position within the denomination um, over a decade, um, what that experience was like, and how you felt in that position.
Yeah, when I was appointed, I was very aware that as all of us in jobs, we all bring our own knowledge, our backgrounds, our experience, our interests. And we're probably at our best um, when in our work life reflects those experiences and background and interests. And I think that applied to me. It applies to ministers, and others who work within our community. So when I was appointed, I didn't want to be seen as the first gay chief officer, or the gay this, the gay that. Being gay is part of my identity, but it's not the only part of my identity. It does raise the issue then of, well, would we have been would we have contributed as much to this debate if I hadn't have been in post? And again, that may have reflected the interest of if someone else had been chief officer at the time, and the degree by which they were interested in social responsibility, public affairs more generally. For me, that was partly what drew me to the post, given the Unitarian long historical and active engagement in public life, in building a better society. That's what draws me to Unitarianism to some extent. It drew me to the role as chief officer. So taking forward that faith and public issues agenda was for me important. And I was able to use clearly the networks that I already had and could develop to benefit and to enable us as a movement to contribute more widely. So within the Cutting Edge Consortium, where we, as I mentioned before, that engagement with trade unions, on several occasions I was at TUC House. We had contacts with the British Humanist Association. We had contacts with other faith groups. So, I was able to use some of those relationships and contacts to our benefit, and enable Unitarians to have a bigger impact than they would otherwise have done. Because in many ways, issuing the occasional press statement is not going to affect public policy. Why would they listen to a small movement? So actually being able to use those contacts, I think, proved invaluable.